Can you hear me now? All right. So, anyways, my bad. So let's start over. Can you guys hear me now? Anybody? Anybody? One, two, three. Can you hear me? Start over. Okay. So, all right. Sorry about that, guys. Haven't had my morning Mountain Dew yet, and here we. Sorry about that. Anyway, so here we are with things. The third team that Brad Holmes was talking to in the Kansas City game has been identified as the Denver Broncos, and it's been for a uh, DJ Jones. And now, if you don't know who he is a defensive end slash tackle. Sorry about it, guys. I haven't fully woken up yet. Anyway, he's 28 years old and fits the need of what apparently Brad Holmes feels this team is looking for to address. He's somebody that's another Isaiah Buggs type run stuffer, can get some penetration, can get after the quarterback somewhat. But let's review who the three teams were that Brad Holmes talked to during the Kansas City game. This is the pre Mountain Dew. Yes, yes, it is, Mister Nico. Anyway, so the big name out of it, I think we all talked about it yesterday with Curtis Steele on Lions Talk Live, is that Simmons from Tennessee, he would be the big splash player, but it's my anticipation the asking price to acquire him is just simply going to be more than what Brad Holmes is going to be willing to do. No pun intended there with Mountain Dew. Now we can say that both the Denver Broncos and Pittsburgh Steelers, those players seem to make more sense as far as from an asking price. But I'd put it out to you guys. What's this also say about Levi Onwuzurike? That are we moving on from this kid already? I talked about it a little bit yesterday with Curtis Steele that I just didn't see where this kid is making an impact. Now, I get in the preseason, there was a lot of hype about him that maybe we're going to get pre-injury Onwuzurike a little bit more than what we anticipated. The other part is, I'm sure everybody knows we are a run-stop first defense. That means you need bodies in there, big bodies that can eat up space, and without the ability to shut down the run, well, then things start gravely changing. So, could it be that Brad Holmes has simply identified that we need more depth on the interior of the defensive line on the first down and second down to force more obvious passing downs on third and sometimes second down? That is something we can all just have to speculate at this time. But again, if you're just joining us, or if you heard the part of the video where apparently my mic wasn't on, um, Thursday night's game, Brad Holmes reached out to three different teams in the NFL and had a lengthy conversation during the game about different players. One of those teams was the Pittsburgh Steelers. Another one was the Tennessee Titans. And we now know, as of this morning, or late last night, I guess I should say, the Denver Broncos were the third team in that conversation. DJ Jones is the player from their team that they talked about, and we'll see where this goes anywhere. But to me, these moves do make a lot of sense. If you're going to do it, especially with the next foreseeable uh, set of opponents for the Lions, if you're going to acquire somebody, this is probably an ideal time to bring somebody in where you can kind of ease them into the lineup and the rotation without really offsetting what you're doing currently. So you guys can make of it what you want. Again, sorry about the audio issues to start this thing. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. And don't forget to smash that like button. Some other news for you guys. Injury front, it does sound like Brian Branch's injury isn't severe. Probably a bad roll. We'll see if he plays next weekend. But I would say this kid seems to be made out of some pretty tough materials. So it would be my anticipation, unless that ankle injury is really severe, he's going to play against Carolina. All right, let's get to some of the stuff in the uh, comment section below. Donkey King, good morning, man. Leave. Yeah, he might. I don't know if we want to call him a bust or just having that fused spine is a little bit more difficult for him to deal with than possible. Do you play pickleball? I haven't yet, but the GF and I have talked about it, so we're looking into it potentially. I think Pascal will be out longer than we hope to. Funky Lion, that's probably a very good assessment. There is potential if they're having to go out and look at players to fill kind of the Pascal role. then you might be spot on. I mean, that knee injury might be one that's more severe than I thought. Forgot about Pascal. Yep, yep, me too. Mr. Nico, we need a big impact player before Tampa Bay. You know, I'm with you, Mr. Nico, and Don Burr. You guys are kind of on the same page with this. Um, I think the Lions' defense is definitely turning a corner, but I also do believe if you want to go to the promised land, the Super Bowl, you're going to need more than one. I guess you could say playmaker out there. And Brian Branch may be a second one, but Aiden Hutchinson, I think we all can agree, is one of the top players in the NFL at this time. Now, if you want to say he's top 5, top 10, I'll leave that to you guys, but he's a top tier player. Brian Branch appears that at some point in his career, he's going to be there as well. Is that going to be this season? I think you're asking a lot from a rookie to come in and play at that level. But make no mistake, this kid is playing pretty well. So it just becomes then what would be another area for the Lions to target? And they want to predominantly, it seems like the last 2 weeks, instead of blitzing so much like they did in the years past, they want to try to rely more on 4-person fronts, but they want to confuse offensive linemen like we've talked about, you guys and I. They want to put everybody up at the line and let the offensive line figure out blocking assignments. It is pretty difficult when it looks like everybody's coming. Who's picking up who? And you're only waiting for those 1 or 2 moments throughout the course of a drive where somebody just is misread and well they get a free run at the quarterback or the running back. So we'll see what happens there. All right, let's see what else we got here. Mosley will help our D line also. Yeah, I mean, it will improve the secondary for sure. Donkey King, Don Burr, anything beyond 4 games, Pascal is turning into the Sean Hand 2.0. That's a blast from the past, but you might be right. Are you going to 34K before the Panthers game? You know what? Hey, why not? Everybody, if you can, help us Lions Talk Live get to 3,400 subscribers before this next Sunday's game. If you can do that, that would be great. And thank you, Mr. Nico, for pointing that out. Don King, yeah, we're missing the D line. Yeah, the draft for sure. I believe our missing piece is a dominant DT. Gary, I will say this. I agree. It's just who can you get without breaking the bank to bring in. And I know in the preseason there was speculation of a couple different players. The kid from Buffalo. I know people talked about Donald from the Rams and stuff. The only problem I really have with Donald, even though he's still playing at an incredibly high level, is he nearly retired this year, prior to this season starting. How much are you really going to give up on a guy that you're going to get for 75% of a season before he's probably out the door and onto the next thing in his life? Go Lions defense. I agree. No, I mean D line picks in the draft are busts. I would say, it's one area we've struggled with for sure. So I'm not sure why Broderick Martin hasn't been brought up, but I'm going to say this: this coaching staff has probably earned the right to have some people question them. We probably shouldn't question their moves because they've been pretty spot on with stuff. But there's got to be a reason why Broderick Martin hasn't yet been elevated to the active roster on a game day. This kid's a monster. It's just he is, as we all know, when he was drafted, he's coming from a smaller school, not quite the level of competition that he's facing now. So it may just simply be they're taking some time to develop him before putting him out there on the field. So I've seen him. I've seen him play, but again, not at this level. And I would say this that there's just small details that make a huge difference on every snap at the NFL level, just because everybody is. I mean, face it, everybody's the best that they were in their positions in college and on their teams, and now you're the best of the best of the best. So any kind of detail you lack, any kind of strength you lack, is going to get exposed pretty quickly. Is Gibbs going to get more reps? You know, I will say this for Montgomery. We all know he was hurt. He comes in and gets whatever it was, 35 reps, snaps, and that's saying something. They didn't nurse him back into the lineup. They threw him right in. But I think we all know that he performed incredibly well. Gibbs, I would say this. I like where he's at. I like what he's doing. You can see some hesitancy. Go back to the Atlanta game, first quarter especially, when hitting the hole up the middle. But by the second half, that was no longer the case. He was hitting it pretty confidently and pretty aggressively. I think as he gets more and more used to the NFL game, that's going to become more probably his regular, his norm, which means his impact on the game, the amount of reps will go up significantly. A. McNeil is not a bust. This is true. I would say this. But to me, he would be better served if he had a dominant defensive tackle next to him. I think McNeil would be an ideal DT2 or interior 2, not interior 1 like he currently is with Detroit, but you can only do what you can with the personnel you have. Today's game between Bears and Denver, yeah, I think to me also Don Burr. That's also why calling the Denver Broncos would make a lot of sense because really after this, say another week or two, if they don't really turn this thing around, you've got to start jettisoning some of those parts to try to rebuild for your future. Uh, I would love to get Patrick Surtain from him, but I think we all know he's one of the better cornerbacks in the NFL. He's ideal at man to man, which is something we would like, but his asking price would also be. I mean, that team's going to get something for him if they're going to jettison him. Is Aiden Hutchinson a beast? Yes, Adams. I think he's one of the best defensive players in the NFL right now. But again, like we talked about earlier, does that mean he's top 5, top 10? I mean, you're kind of splitting hairs. He is one of the best players in the NFL, especially on the defensive line. So I think we can all agree with that part. All right. I won't keep you guys. And again, sorry for the audio issues to start the show. At least we all worked together and got through it. But if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, pretty please help Don Burr and this channel out. Let's try to get to 3,400 subscribers by kickoff next Sunday. And if you're in the chat right now, you're going to help me out, man. Try to get us to, I don't know, 30 likes. Can we do that? We got 40 of you guys in the chat. Give me a help push the like button and get us up to 20 or 30. That'd be great. Adams, thanks for that, man. Yeah, I enjoy doing this stuff. So, but unfortunately, when I do it in the morning and I'm just waking up, sometimes mistakes happen. So, yeah, everybody go enjoy some NFL football. Hope you all have a great Sunday, and we'll see you tomorrow morning on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care.